It's really cool that the main lead character is an African American. Hello everybody, welcome back to Zevaulia with me, Zeva. Have you heard of the upcoming Pixar movie that will be released in 2020 around June called Soul? They will actually release 2 movies next year, one in March and one in June, which is Soul. Well, I'm going to be making a reaction video towards this movie. And not only will I react to this video, but I will also give you my views and my take on the main messaging of the movie. Because as we know, especially with Pixar, they don't only just simply make a cartoon movie and that's it. There will always be a pearl of wisdom or pearl of wisdoms even within their movies, and that is what I will also concentrate on. So let's start.
What would you want to be known for on Earth?
Good question. This is AGR Overture. It fits the New York scene.
We only have a short time on this planet.
Here.
You want to become the person that you were born to be?
I like this messaging.
All the junk of life? Spend your precious hours doing what will bring out the real you.
Here.
The brilliant, passionate you that's ready to contribute something meaningful into this world.
It's a pianist or...
I really need a haircut today, man. Can you fit me in? Whoa, sorry.
It's really cool that the main lead character is an African American. Okay, fell into a pothole. Wait, let me just pause right there. That reminds me of the scene from Mr. Bean when he fell from the sky and like... Okay, I'm getting a bit random right now, so... This is like Inside Out. Oh, well.
So what do you want to be remembered for?
Probably for doing this funny cowboy dance.
Great.
Oh, the blue thingies? They're like souls. Okay, I think I have a big general idea what this movie is about. Be right back. Overall, I found the trailer very interesting, endearing, and also makes me want to look forward to watching it next year. The first point, I will always be into Pixar and Disney films because since I was a little girl, since I was a little kid, I am always into cartoons, you know, everything Pixar and everything Disney, and that will be something to look forward to. And the second is that I like how the cartoon itself, it kind of feels like it's something that a lot of people can relate to, not only for children but also for adults. Especially, I can tell that this movie is about finding yourself and what you want to do in this life. What is your purpose? You know, what is your soul purpose? And that will be something that everybody will relate to actually, because when you go into an adult, it doesn't mean that you have everything together. It's a continuous process of finding the things that you really want to do, the things that you really want to contribute in. And I can really connect with this character already, even though I've just seen the quick trailer of it. I also found out that the director, Pete Docter, who is also a 2-time Academy Awards winner by the way, he was actually inspired by his son. So this idea, the idea behind the movie, it was in conception for 23 years. That's right, 23 years. That's a long aspiration to have, and I really applaud him for finally making his idea alive into a Pixar movie. That's amazing. So when his son, his 23-year-old son now, was born 23 years ago, he noticed that his baby son already has his own personality, and it made him wonder, a baby who has no experience at all in this world, like hasn't accumulated anything from his environment, already has a personality, like how could that be, you know? So he questions this very simple factor and really makes him think a lot about life, which is very philosophical, you know, if you think about it, the basis of this movie. And it's actually something that I personally also like to ask about. Like, I also like to ask about the universe, the world, and why things the way they are. You know, very inquisitive and curious, basically, which is not always easy. So through this movie, he really wants us to really think about that sense of self. So basically, through this movie, he wants to convey the message of how do we come to the point where we understand our sense of self. And in actuality, that sense of self, in my opinion, it does grow. Well, even though I haven't popped out any children out of me yet, or haven't, you know, mothered a child or anything like that, I don't understand how you know, babies' personalities grow. But I guess when I hear from my friends and family who already have children, they always say to me that yeah, their toddler, their kid, their babies do have like a unique personality. Some are like grumpy babies and some are really cheerful babies. Some of the babies are more chill and some are cry babies like all the time. So that is very interesting to see that growth from a baby to an adult and all the things that a person experiences and making them to the person that they are today. So that is like basically the basic larger message that this movie wants to convey. Now the voice cast really caught my eye. 3 people caught my eye. The first is Jamie Foxx, obviously, because he's the lead actor. Woohoo! Support for people of color. Jamie Foxx, of course, you guys know him, right? I'm sure you know him. For those who don't know Jamie Foxx, he was in the famous movie called Ray and also Spider-Man 2. So Jamie Foxx plays the character Joe Gardner. So Joe Gardner is a middle school teacher who also loves and plays jazz. The main character Joe Gardner, as we saw in the trailer, he received a call. He actually got a gig to play some jazz music at one of New York City's jazz clubs. When I read more about this, apparently the jazz club is the Blue Note. So the Blue Note is actually a legit, like a real jazz club in New York. It's super legendary. You should look it up if you're into jazz. But then he fell into a sewer grate and died. And as we saw, he suddenly turned all blue, and it seriously reminds me of the movie Inside Out. You know, the movie about these little characters in somebody's head controlling a person. But I think what this movie is trying to portray, not really little characters controlling a person inside somebody's head, but actually the soul. And from the moment when I saw the scene of the pitch black room, the spacious hollowness of nothingness, and then there's these 2 small blue souls, I guess they're souls because this movie is about souls, talking to each other, conversing to each other. So Joe Gardner's soul, and then this other soul, which apparently is 22, who is played by Tina Fey. And by the way, if you don't know Tina Fey, she was in SNL, 30 Rock, and also the writer of Mean Girls, by the way. Anyway, that's another story. I just can see that this movie also will connect with a lot of people's religious or spiritual belief systems. If you're into, you know, the soul thing and also how life revolves around Earth, like very spiritual, like it's like spiritual religious, you can see the connection. Do you see the connection like me, or am I the only one? Comment down below. But that's how I see it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think like with humans, some of us will always ask, you know, about the larger things in life, something that is out there that maybe we can't really comprehend with the human brain logically. But some people go that route, some people don't. Everybody's floats their boat differently. I don't mind. It's your choice and your way of thinking to make. But yeah, I do see that connection and where this movie is going to, and I think that's really interesting. And it's a cartoon for kids, it's kids friendly, but you also see something that adults can relate to for those who like to ponder on about life. When some of the people who made this movie were interviewed, they shared that the big pitch black room, that is called a youth seminar. So this youth seminar is like a school for the souls. It's a place where the souls really learn about themselves and finding their passion, shaping their passion before they are transformed and also transported into the body of a human baby, like a human newborn to be. And I guess the soul of Joe Gardner in that youth seminar school thing needs to find ways on how to develop. And maybe because the movie is strongly about his passion of wanting to become a jazz musician. Maybe he's learning jazz out there, I don't know. Another cast I want to highlight is Phylicia Rashad. So Phylicia Rashad, for those of you who don't know who she is, she was actually in the Cosby Show. She was Claire Huxtable. She's going to be playing as Joe Gardner's mother, and I really like the fact that this movie, it seems like it wants to highlight as well the main role of people of color, specifically African Americans, which is really cool and inclusive. I'm all up for that. And the brains behind the music for this movie are Trent Reznor and also Atticus Ross. These two are Grammy Award winners for a soundtrack from the movie The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And I will also be looking forward to a lot of jazz sounds. And as the song for the trailer, Overture by AJR, you should really check out their YouTube channel. They make really cool music. They're an indie pop band and they really fit the movie because these three, the trio of the band, they are actually native New Yorkers. One of them is an alumni of Columbia University and another one of the brothers is currently studying at Columbia. This really fits the New York vibe of this movie. Personally, I am really looking forward to this movie next year in June 2020, don't forget. How about you? See you in the next video.